My name is Joseph Hurst. I live in Ankeny, Iowa, and I'm a part of the PMBA program. I currently work as the Director of Sales at Stony Creek Hotels in Johnston, Iowa, and I chose the Iowa State MBA program because it just made perfect sense. About 2 years ago, I started this wonderful program, and I couldn't imagine not having done it. What has helped the most balance work, life, school, has been the people I'm in class with. It's great to go through questions, problems, study for tests, and it just makes the whole class so much easier. As a working professional thinking about doing an MBA program, I get night classes aren't everybody's dream. I get after a long day of work, you may not want to go do more, but it's worth it. You're going to learn a lot, not just from the professors in the program, but from the other students. They come from all walks of life. They are from different age groups. They're from different companies. They're from all kinds of different backgrounds. They've got all kinds of different stories. And after 2 years, I've made some of the best friends I've ever made, learned the most I've ever learned, and I can't imagine what we're going to do after we're done.
Success in farming is all about precision and efficiency, ensuring every seed, every drop of water, every nutrient and treatment counts. Terraplex Ag is helping farmers all over Iowa and the Midwest do just that. With precision ag-grown technology and support from Terraplex, you'll boost your productivity and make timely and informed decisions, all while reducing your costs and increasing your profit. It's time to revolutionize your farming. Harvest the benefits with Terraplex Ag. Visit TerraplexAg.com.
Chris Williams, Brent Blum, from the Wild Rose Casino Studio. It's Williams and Blum, presented by Mechdyne, on the Cyclone Fanatic Podcast Network.
What is up? It is the 9th of October. Williams and Blum Wednesday. We are presented by Mechdyne. Breaking down your 11th ranked Iowa State varsity university football program. Big one coming up on Saturday night. A little women's and men's basketball media day this week. Actually, once I get done recording this, Blum, I am hopping in the Cyclone Fanatic themed Carl Chevrolet Silverado, and I'm heading to Ames, where I will have a sit-down with Iowa State head coach T.J. Otzelberger. So that will be coming up on the podcast feed, hopefully later today, Aiden, wherever Aiden slots it, but we want to get it up there as people are thinking about basketball. Media day, and then we've got all the football you can handle in the next few days.
I'm excited to dive into basketball. It's almost like been an afterthought, and yet you have two top 10 teams, which is crazy, but...
How many years have we done this where I've sent out the text staff, okay, now we're going to focus on basketball. Time to turn the page. People are ready.
Sometimes it was around October 1st. Not this year. No. I took in a little practice last week.
How'd that go?
I liked what I saw. I
heard Mommy's put on some weight.
And I said it this spring, and I'm going to reiterate it. Nate Heisey is Mr. Slept On from the
He's
fan
the guy
base.
that nobody's talking about but should.
Indeed.
Okay.
Very, very excited to see him fit in with this group. And then Joshua Jefferson's getting healthy. Big time. That's gonna pay dividends too. I'm excited. I think this team's gonna be really good. I think this team is more talented than it was last year. It's just the Big 12 is a complete and utter monster. And so your record may not be the same. Iowa State will be picked in the top 10 and yet probably fourth in the Big 12. I mean, that's all you need to say.
Man. So you're what? You're looking at Kansas, Arizona.
Kansas, Houston, Baylor.
No Arizona? Yeah, I forgot about Houston. I was going to say Baylor is my third, but yeah, I forgot about Houston.
I'd say Arizona's probably going to be picked. Arizona will be picked fifth. Now there's
behind Iowa State.
Yeah. I mean, Baylor's got
what a league.
Baylor's got another top 5 pick coming that get used to the name VJ Edgecombe. Great name.
That's a great elite name, Scott Drew.
Yes, he's a top 5 pick. Next great player to come out of Baylor, and then they've got They got guys coming back too.
There's this whole deal because the 11th ranked varsity football program, and it's like, I know I need to have 100% of my attention on them, but the varsity men's and women's basketball programs are also going to be in the top 10 playing in like real games fast, right? Because you've got Maui, the women play South Carolina, UConn, Iowa, right? Like this is setting up to be a month of November. It's like, listen, kids, see dad in April, right? Like, it's just, this is everything we ever wanted.
It's crazy.
Like, sitting at Welch Avenue Station when we were sophomores.
It's all lining up at the same time. So Women's Media Day was yesterday. Took in some of their practice. My goodness, those new additions are big time. So I'm just, I'm very fired up at the moment because I think we're in for an awesome next 4 months, 5 months, 6 months. I don't do math very well.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Just live in the moment, brother.
Live in the moment.
Live in the moment. Thank our sponsors. We are presented as always by Mechdyne, the Mechdyne Corporation. That is spelled MECHDYNE.com, enabling discovery. Wild Rose Casino Studios. I also want to give a shout out to my friends at Game Day Men's Health, who is a sponsor of the program. Buddy of ours in the RV lot last week comes up and says that he started going to Game Day Men's Health because of our show, and he has lost 20 pounds, and he looked great. So shout out to my guy, John. I won't give his last name in case he wants to be protected, but we love you, and we appreciate your friendship, and I'm so glad that could be a positive thing for you. Game Day Men's Health, they have locations in Ankeny, West Des Moines, and in North Liberty for all of you Eastern Iowa Cyclones out there. We are also, as always, presented by our friends over at the Iowa State University Foundation. Go to movewhatmatters.com today, and you can give a gift anywhere on campus. I actually got a note from Stevens Auditorium yesterday. I love getting mail. You know, when you become a donor to these places, they send you mail all the time, and usually they want more money, but that's okay. Spent a lot of great time in CY Stevens over the years, and I believe I'm going to a Bare Naked Ladies show that's coming up there. Like, what a great place on campus that you can be a donor to.
The Bare Naked Ladies are still.
Oh yeah, they're still
naked.
Oh yeah,
still naked.
Yeah.
Didn't they sing that song where they talk really fast?
Oh yeah, chicken the China, the Chinese chicken.
It's like Twista in the rap game, but
Twista, good pull.
How about that?
I'm more of a Bare Naked Ladies guy than I am a Twista, but nonetheless. All right.
The 8 people who used to go to Sips with me will recognize Twista.
Oh, I know Twista. Twista was like he was kind of like got a cameo in all those the big name rappers. They would always bring Twist on to rip out a verse.
Hey buddy, just rap really fast.
Yeah, just go as fast as you can.
Yeah, he's like basically the Jalen Jackson.
Exactly. Yeah, but don't call me a third down back.
No, not a third down back. No.
All right, let's get real quick before we get into Iowa State, West Virginia. We need to talk about Project Rudy. So I did a little reporting on the premium board last night. You're going to start to see a lot of stories coming out of Nashville, probably as soon as today. The Big Ten and the SEC are meeting. We talked about this last week. I can promise you I've calmed down. I will not be dropping that large amount of F-bombs towards Greg Sankey again. I mean, they threatened to kill me. I'm kidding. They didn't. No, that's not true. I'm kidding. The SEC did not have somebody at my house. So there's all these like theories that are being floated out, and I don't even want to go too deep into it here. It feels like I want to focus on Iowa State and West Virginia in the Big 12, Brent. But whatever this Project Rudy thing is, I'm going to dumb it down for everybody. A high level of private equity would come into the sport. It would be basically the Power 4 programs, so that would include the Big 12 and the ACC. You break it off. You're basically 70 schools. You are now not playing so the group of 5. You're screwed. You're like a different division. FCS, like you can't. So it's just these 70 schools playing each other. But basically, you're owned by this group that Jack Swarbrick of all people is involved. Like these guys, can we just call all these people what they are? Giant hypocrites. It all starts with our guy Bill Hancock, who fought against the playoff forever. And Bill's a very nice man. I've dined with him. But the same people that this fought against this playoff, we have to preserve the Blockbuster Bowl. It is for the sanctity of all things. We have to keep the Poinsettia Bowl healthy.
Of rental movies.
Yeah, we have to keep the Florida Citrus Bowl. Has to be a thing. It is what people care about in this sport. And then they're like, oh, wait, this playoff thing you've been talking about is going to make us all this money. Oh, yeah, we're okay with that. Okay, but it's got to stay at 4. We have to preserve the regular season. Oh, okay, we're just going to grow it to 12 this year. Well, we haven't even done that yet. Now it needs to be 16. It has to be 16. 12 is not enough. So now we have Notre Dame's former athletic director who is, we've got to make sure these players get their degrees, Brent. They have to stay student athletes. They have to be amateurs. And at the head of this private equity firm who is trying to get its way into college football with a $9 billion price tag, who do we have leading the way? Notre Dame's former athletic director, Jack Swarbrick. What in the...
Yeah,
so I don't know if this is good or not. I just want to call out hypocrites when I see them, and... here we have it. Mr. Swarbrick may have very good intentions.
Well, I will say at least somebody's trying to come up with ideas here.
Great point.
That is
That's
progress.
A great point. Yeah,
that is progress.
And they're not just saying like, "Hey, Congress, figure it out for us."
Yeah, because that clearly Congress is like, "Hey guys, like, figure it out on your own."
Yeah, we got a little bit going on right now.
We got a little bit going on in our situation. It's the issue is the sport is run by two folks right now, which is honestly kind of unfortunate because they hold all the cards, and that is the commissioner of the SEC and the Big Ten. And I don't even think all of their member schools are all on board, but those two are protecting their biggest schools and themselves in a lot of ways. And so we're not seeing the bigger picture. And I think this Project Rudy, as well as that other proposal, that interestingly I thought the Tennessee the Tennessee AD signed his name onto, which was progress again.
Yeah, that is progress. Yeah. It
would
really,
help.
Like this whole thing, like all these things, really would only benefit like 8 to 15 schools.
Yeah, but
because my thing is like Oklahoma's a perfect example, and I think it's going to play out. I said this for 3 years. Yeah, like their stadium's full, and they've got this monster. Will it be if they're 7-5 every year? And like if you can only play 70 schools, it's like I'm a South Carolina fan, right? My family's from there. Well, South Carolina heavily benefits from playing Group of 5 and like right over the years when you just stack, like that's how you get the bowl games, right? Like so, it could be just a lot more bad teams, and the problem is like, you know, my problem with being a Vikings fan, it's like we're always just decent.
Yeah.
We're never bad enough to get good picks, but we're never good enough to win anything. Well, like if you're the Browns, at least you get the first pick next year. Well, this isn't going to do that. You're just going to have the bad teams that are just going to stay bad all the time. So, I don't know.
You're right. You're right, and that's still better than the path we're headed down, though. So, I mean,
yeah, I hate the relegation thing. Like, to me, the relegation thing is so stupid in college athletics unless there's going to be like a real, like a draft or right. Like, how do you relegate with an athletic department? Like when it's messing with their money, like what does that mean? Okay, well, we're just going to cut soccer this year. How does that work?
It's one thing if you're a professional soccer team, and you can unload players that way, like that. Why the relegation system works in Europe is they can essentially divest pretty quickly and sell their guys. Like, and
is Iowa State like, oh, we got relegated to a tier 3 media deal next year, we need to cut our wrestling program? Like, how the hell will that work?
Or honestly, like, can we trade our quarterback? or can we offload our quarterback we're headed down that path. And this is why I like this Project Rudy and that other proposal, the Super League proposal. You're really having to thread a needle here, because on the bottom end, you're going to have the group of 5 people in the FCS schools say, screw you guys, we're going to sue you because we're not part of this.
Mm-hmm.
But then on the high end, this is what's America to a T, you have the top 15 brands who are saying, screw you guys, we don't need to give you our money. And so you've got 2 competing forces against these things. Now, if you're those 60 schools in the middle, you're for it, even if you can't publicly say you're for it, because that might upset your commissioner who's trying to protect your top 5 programs. It's all a huge mess. I'm glad there's people looking at this.
Yeah.
We're headed towards a stare down between the top, I would say honestly, the top 15 programs and everybody else. Who's going to win? And here's what I know for sure. The current system, the current path we're going down is not sustainable at all. And the Big Ten, the SEC, are going to continue to try and just, honestly, and I don't mean this to be graphic, but they're going to try and put a paper bag on everybody else's head, or a plastic bag, and you're slowly just going to lose oxygen. And it'll start with nobody's watching your games. So therefore, TV will lessen its investment in you, and then on and on and on. Then you'll take your players, your coaches, and oh, we didn't do it. You guys weren't good enough. I mean, that's the path we're headed down, unless there is some radical change. And I think the Project Rudy and the other one is I wouldn't call it a Hail Mary. I think it's 3rd and 15, and you're trying to throw a deep post pattern right now.
What will probably happen is there's probably going to be bits and pieces of all this stuff put together in like a plan. But the problem I see is that it looks like Sankey, at least publicly, is really digging in for a fight.
Yeah, and he holds majority of the cards.
He is the worst, isn't he? Just his comments, like that guy just reeks of, I don't want to have a beer with you.
And the thing is, he didn't even go to an SEC school. He's from New York.
Oh, it makes it even worse.
Yeah. I don't know.
Sorry,
I am glad.
Yorkers,
Here's what I'll say.
listening.
Again, optimistically, I'm glad the Big 12 has your mark, and then people like Pollard hanging around to be a part of this stare down.
Really, I mean, Jamie's been pretty integral in the background of all this.
Because if you're a younger AD and you don't have that cachet, it's gonna be really hard to stand up to some of these folks. But there is some freedom into having pardon my language here, earmuffs, and not give a shit mode. And I don't know if Jamie clearly gives a shit, but he's also like,
I don't think he cares what other people.
He doesn't care what people think about. He's not worried about his next job and trying to land one of those bigger AD jobs anymore. He is in it to protect, honestly, the I don't want to call it the sanctity of the sport, but the tradition of college athletics in general.
There's a little bit of like, sorry, I'm going to my weird side, but like a little bit of like Jesse James, Robin Hood stuff going on where you rob a bank to feed the poor. Like a little bit of that. Jesse James is a very controversial figure, so don't take that literally. But
there's something to
these
that.
guys who would go and rob banks and then give it to all the poor people, and like that. It's kind of. I understand why Tennessee's athletic director would do it though. Like if you're Tennessee, think of Tennessee football the last 20 years. Like you haven't been you haven't been part of their club. You've been getting out-resourced, out everything by those guys. In Tennessee, there's more money there than some places, but it's not like, I mean, even like Alabama, like it's the reason Saban left. A big part is because he knew that fan base couldn't compete in NIL with what he was going to be going up against. Because it's just, you gave us the numbers. It was one of the first shows we did on this. Like as far as like how rich is your fan base, Bama doesn't stack up. There's a lot of them, and people watch them on TV. But as far as like donors giving to players, they're not there.
Yeah, it's going to be behind the scenes. This is as active as far as the structure of college athletics has been in a while. Again, there's realignment, but this is bigger than realignment. This is the future of the whole operation right now, and everybody's asking some big questions. And you just hope, as an Iowa State, you're unfortunately kind of along for the ride here. There's not a whole lot you can control on your end, but if you can, give enough influence and feedback that maybe common sense will prevail. I'm I'm not sure there's a lot of common sense with that gentleman in the SEC.
I said it last week. I'll say it again today. My prediction as to how this all ends up is they expand the playoff. I don't know about the governing structure, okay, as far as the pain. And I don't know about that. People smarter than me will figure it out. I think in the next 10 years, they expand the playoff. You will go with the 4-4-2-2. I think the Big 12 and the ACC will have 2 automatic qualifiers. And I think there will be creative ways that the SEC and the Big 10 make even more money that they don't have to share with everybody else. That would be my guess as to how this all plays out. And then, long term, is it I said it last week. I will say it again. I don't think that they have the balls to do the Super League thing. And if they do, I mean, I'll use my mom's home state, South Carolina. Like, will they want to sign off on that? They get their ass kicked. Like, they have a great deal going over there. Like, it's a lot like Iowa State in the sense of people love game day in Columbia. They love it. Like, it's tailgate heavy, tradition. We may not win every time, but this is where I connect with my uncle Jim, who I only see for 6 Saturdays out of the year, but we do this together, and it's very similar. If you're just going to go 2-10 every year and there's no draft pick at the end, like, it's bad.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing if it comes down to a vote with schools and presidents, I don't know. But it's all about money for them. So if they're like, well, if you don't do this, you're going to make $15 million a year less, then who knows? Maybe they'll all just be stupid.
And then be like, oh, well, we need to pay me and our coaches and those. Yeah. And that's the concern, is that there's always the financial carrot. So I had a really good conversation with somebody on the academic side of Iowa State this week, and they brought up a great point. And I think we're getting there. And I think the sooner this state wakes up to this, the sooner the better. And I'm kind of raising the alarm is, if this goes down the path where it's headed, where the Big Ten, the SEC just kind of slowly walk away, and like we've talked about, ultimately, Iowa State, and I will be part of the club, kind of, but we all kind of know they're just going to be somewhat of an afterthought in those 2 leagues. The state of Iowa becomes the state of Montana or the state of New Mexico in regards to college athletics. Is that what we want? I mean, think about how much college athletics helps you from a state perspective, not just an enrollment perspective, but what are people talking about in the fall, in the winter in Iowa?
Just the economics,
just everything. Like, there's got to be at some point, there's got to be people sounding the alarm that have influence before it gets too late. Because what they're going to try and do, everybody, is they're going to try and just slowly burn you out, and then it just kind of loses its appeal. Now is the time to start asking these questions. And that's why I'm glad, again, the chancellors and some presidents are starting to speak up. Like, hey, do we really want to do this? Have we given too much power to these 2 individuals that are commissioners, and what's the end game for them here? Because if this continues down the path and you end up in a 3rd-tier, 4th-tier league, whatever that looks like, what do you think the enrollment situation is like for Montana, in Montana State? Mm-hmm. It's and again, not a perfect example, but that's what can happen if you're not in a power league, is you lose that biggest marketing and recruiting factor, which, in my opinion, one of the reasons I came to Iowa State, you as well,
it's the only reason
they had high-end athletics.
Yeah.
And how good did it look for the enrollment office, the recruitment office, when you have 61,000 people all in white on national TV on Saturday night? That's valuable. That is more marketing dollars than you could spend on any Choose Your Adventure campaign, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's got to be some, there's got to be some teamwork here from everybody to realize you got to sound the alarm now before it's too late. And again, I don't know what you can even do. I don't know if Chuck Grassley gets on the phone or whoever else. However, who's the other senator? Ernst.
Yeah.
But
of Red Oak, Iowa, Montgomery County.
If you don't do something, then you're Montana or New Mexico or Washington State, right? Like that's what I fear here.
If I'm an Iowa fan too, like, none of this is good for me.
Mm-mm.
I think that they're kind of just blind to all this. Like, I mean, they're having a hard time competing in NIL right now. Like,
Well, they're seeing the perils of what a Super League really is.
yeah, I mean, that's why I've said I would rather be where Iowa State is right now, just being Iowa State. Of course, Iowa State would accept an invite to the Big Ten if it came, but it ain't going to happen. Like, I would rather be able to punch at my own weight class going forward and figure out the finances than be doomed to whatever.
How much of that Big Ten money helped you in your game against Ohio State when they had an extra $25 million over the top of you, and will always have an extra $25 million over the top of you? Like,
it's hard.
It is in Iowa's advantage to have a cap as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the advantage of all but 5 schools, honestly.
Yeah, it's Ohio State, it's Georgia, it's probably Michigan, A&M, Texas.
Yeah. Like, if you guys are just happy with those
LSU,
5 schools,
maybe.
LSU, kind of. I mean, they don't have a huge endowment. If you're fine with those 5 schools just
USC.
outspending everybody all the time, USC at times, then great. But it is in 90% of college football's best advantage here to have a cap or have fair rules. If you want this to be the Texas and Georgia Invitational for the next 20 years, then, well, you get what you deserve then.
Williams and Blum Wednesday, we are presented by Mechdyne. We also want to thank our great sponsor, Kelderman Manufacturing. I did talk to Kelderman. He was planning on going. He was going to take his giant ass shack bus to Morgantown. I don't know if that's still happening.
Is he en route?
I don't know. I haven't got an update. Last I heard, he may not be going. Nonetheless, if you see it on the way, you'll know it's Kelderman Manufacturing, kelderman.com. I want you to visit them for they do a lot of great suspension work. Of course, the down corn reel. They've been selling a lot of those lately. I was with Jeff on Saturday, and he was telling me about that. They've done all kinds of great stuff. Kelderman Manufacturing, check them out today. Also want to thank our friend Hope Wood. HopeWoodJD.com for your will in a day. You can get that taken care of. You don't even got to worry about it. That means you could die of a heart attack watching the Cyclones, and everybody behind you is going to be taken care of because you got your will done in a day. How great is that?
Hope stopped by my tailgate and said somebody stopped her in the tailgate lots and says, "Are you the will in a day person?" She's like, "Yes, advertising works." Yeah.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Our friends at Gravitate Co-working as well. Hey, this is cool. They have a second Gravitate Co-working in Windsor Heights now. Did you know that? It's just opening up. A second one in Windsor Heights.
What's the one thing you know about Windsor Heights?
I don't know.
Well,
They
the
have,
one
like,
thing.
speeding tickets or
Yes,
something? Yes,
that's right.
Yeah.
That's the first thing that comes to
Yeah,
mind.
there's just cops everywhere.
Do not speed in Windsor Heights.
Yeah, it's funny that I actually knew that.
You did.
It was ringing a bell, and I'm like, should I say that, or is everybody going to make fun of me?
Nope, you're right.
Second one, it's 6611 University, Suite 200 in Windsor Heights. That's right across the intersection from the current one, because they were so big and they needed so much more space that they added the second one. It's because these great places are blowing up, baby. GravitateCoworking.com.
If you're walking across the street, you can't speed.
This is true. All right, Iowa State varsity football program is at West Virginia. The coal miner game? Like what
Coal Rush.
The coal rush.
Yeah.
They're wearing they're copying Iowa State's black uniforms. Just disgusting move. A disgusting move. All Iowa State fans should be irate. The color black belongs to us, and West Virginia is blatantly ripping it off for this game.
What does Matt do?
Oh, it's a great question.
Matt
can't wear cardinal.
He can't wear cardinal.
It's in his contract that he will not wear cardinal or gold.
So he's going to wear black. Interesting decision for the head coach on Saturday.
So the clones just got to go with the white and the red trims. I mean, I think you stand out a little bit.
You keep it classic here.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that they're doing a drone show?
Oh, they're just shoving it right down our throat, aren't they?
Man.
Although I did see somebody put up on Twitter that the drone show in Ames will be for the UCF game.
Coming back.
It's
running
huge.
it back. Yeah.
And McCarney is not scheduled to be in town, so the win should be okay. We should be able to pull that off.
Speaking of, seriously, thoughts with Coach Mack?
Yeah, I thought about that, man.
He's in Sarasota, guys.
Yeah.
So
well, I hope he got the hell out of there.
I hope so too. We need to check on the head ball coach.
Thought about that.
So honestly, seriously,
a
thinking
lot of snowbirds that go down there. I know a lot of people who have homes in the Naples area. Like, geez, just
all thinking of all of our friends in Florida. I mean,
Absolutely.
I'm actually somewhat terrified for them. This seems like a bad deal. So, thoughts with y'all.
Well, and it's just 2 weeks after they already had a bad deal going on, and there's only so much water that land can take.
Yeah.
Remember the place when we used to go down there a lot, the one bar/restaurant that I'm obsessed with on Captiva Island? I know I took you and Crystal there.
Mucky Duck? Mucky
Yeah, Mucky
something.
Duck.
Mucky
Yep.
Duck.
I follow them
Mucky
on
Duck
Facebook.
is the one in Ames, isn't it?
Yeah,
I think
Is there
there's
two
another
Mucky
one.
Ducks?
There might be another Mucky Duck.
Yeah, well, this is definitely called Mucky Duck. It's in Captiva Island, and they're always posting pictures and stuff. And they've just gotten hammered the last 3 years. This is the third year in a row that those good people down there just keep getting smashed. So.
My mom is still rebuilding her place in Fort Myers, and
after 2 years ago, right?
It's 2 years. It's about to get another round. So anyway.
Yeah,
hoping for the best,
doing
everybody.
That.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Especially Mac. Seriously, the first thing I'm like, oh no, Mac's
I
there.
thought the same thing. Somebody literally in our text group, one of my groups, said, "Does anybody know anyone in Sarasota?" And I was like, "Yeah, McCarney." So thinking of you, Mac. Iowa State, West Virginia. Pulled up a few little numbers on West Virginia as listen, just a bird's eye view of this team. Not great on defense. Not a great defensive team. They're decent rush D, I guess, but they're pretty poor against the pass. They are 81st against the pass, or 99th in pass defense total, 81st in passing yards per game. When you look at them offensively, I think what stands out to me, pretty good running game. They've got 3 running backs. They've got a quarterback that can move. And when you look at Iowa State's injuries on defense, Brent, this is a concern going into Saturday. And we don't really know who will be healthy. Matt Campbell said on Tuesday that Caleb Brazina is practicing, which is great. If Nine's there, it makes me feel a lot better about the whole situation. But slowing down this running game for West Virginia is Iowa State's strength defensively is its secondary, right? And this will be the best rushing attack Iowa State has seen this year.
Yeah, your MO for this game is exactly like the Iowa game, in my opinion, on defense. And it's priority 1A, 1B, 2A, and 2B is stop the run. You got to just load up on it and then make Garrett Green beat you. And if he does, then you tip your cap. Because I'm looking at the game log for West Virginia, and when they played Penn State and really got handled pretty good, which interestingly, Neil Brown said Iowa State reminds him a little bit of how Penn State operates, which I thought was a compliment and probably pretty true. But Penn State holds them to 85 yards on 37 carries. Couldn't move the ball. Couldn't move it on the ground. In their losses, they've averaged 3.3 yards per carry. In the wins, it's 7. I mean, it's that simple, honestly. I think Green's a very good quarterback.
Yes.
But if he's throwing it 40 times,
he's by far the best quarterback Iowa State's played this year.
Yeah, because he can he can throw it. Now he's a mobile quarterback, and he's throwing
low percentage guy.
Yeah, 58%, throws a lot of interceptions, honestly. So that's what I'm saying. If I can get him to throw it 45 times a game, I think Iowa State's in a really good spot. If they're able to just keep getting 5, 6, 8-yard chunks, number one, it keeps your offense off the field, and that's going to be Iowa State's advantage in this game. But then they're just able to. So what West Virginia wants to do is exactly what they did against Oklahoma State. They're going to keep. They ran the ball. Let's see. We got 65 carries. That is obnoxious amount. And if Green and they threw it 16 times, 65-16 was the bound. They would love to do that again. If Iowa State can't stop the run, West Virginia wins the game. And it's going to be
Neil Brown 10 years ago would puke at that box score.
It's crazy, but
he's evolved. Give him credit. He's evolved with his team.
And it's honestly, it's as simple as you hold them to, I'm going to put the magic number at 180 or less. I think Iowa State wins the game. If it's 180 or more, I think it's you're going right down the wire. I think Iowa State's going to be able to move it on them. This defense isn't great, and Iowa State's got guys. We all know that. But if you don't have the ball, it's going to be really hard. And so West Virginia wants to keep this on the ground and sucking the clock away, and that's the goal.
Yeah, we have the same read on this football game. The one thing you can't replicate is the environment Iowa State will go into, and it will be elite. This will be one of the best environments in all of college football on Saturday, and what's a loaded slate across the board. I would guess that with the night game, everything going on there, this is a top 5 environment in the sport this weekend. Do you agree?
There's no
You've
question.
been there.
Yeah, it's a great place to watch a game. They care, and Neil Brown referenced it in his press conference this week. He said this is the top 10 football team coming to town. Like, I think sometimes as Iowa State fans we have to readjust where we are at. Of now we're the
This
you got a big
reminds
number
me of
on your
when
name.
They came to Ames, ranked 5th or whatever it was, and we punked them pretty good.
Yep.
I hope this isn't the other way around.
Totally agree, but this isn't Iowa State's not catching anybody off guard. It's like that team 3 years ago when they went into Morgantown. Iowa State came in as double-digit favorites over there, but it was a big game for West Virginia. That might have kept Neil Brown afloat for a little bit. So these things, when you have a target, you're going to get the best shot, and West Virginia's pretty healthy as well. And so yes, there are some question marks heading into this game. I still think if you have Rocco and those pass catchers, you're going to have a chance. And this may be a game where Iowa State's going to have to outscore them, relatively.
I think it will be. It's funny because I've said this a few times, and everybody will respond to me and be like, "Oh, but our defense is 6th nationally." I get it, and they've been awesome. They've been awesome. Haycock's group is, but they haven't played many good offenses. They just haven't. Let's just be real here. You played an FCS team. You played Iowa, which was incredibly predictable. You knew exactly what they were going to do. Arkansas State doesn't really count. And Houston is one of the most one-dimensional teams in the country. Baylor was the best offense I think you've played, best overall as far as balance goes. And you made really great adjustments, and you did what Haycock does, and you shut them out in the second half like we're expecting. This is the best offense they will play. So I'm expecting a regression defensively, but I think Iowa State's offense, they've got the running game going. They feel like they are about to have an explosive game of some sort. And I hope it's this week. If it is, yeah, I could see this game being in the mid-30s and Iowa State winning at 38-35. I hope not. I'm wrong about the defense, but you're right, though. And we've said this is kind of becoming a theme. If you can shut down the running game, I like Iowa State's secondary against anybody.
You got it.
Causing interceptions, doing all that stuff. So that's huge. And also, Brent, my last key would just be knock it off with the slow starts. Get out there and shut that crowd up. Go out and score a freaking touchdown on your first drive and put them on their ass.
Well, and this is one of those games where if you do get behind, they'll just slow it down, and they're able to do that. Why Iowa State won the game in some way in Iowa City is Iowa got a little too big for their britches there and tried to throw it, and it ended up biting them. This is a game where if West Virginia gets up 10, they're just going to try and put the sleeper hold on, and it's going to make it difficult. So totally agree. Cannot have early mistakes down there and get away with it. I do think, and I don't say this disrespectfully to West Virginia, I think Iowa State's got more skill than they do.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa State's been in these environments before. Playing in Iowa City helps in this situation. This is not an Iowa State team that's egos getting in the way here, but I think physically this is a big game. You win this one, and things get really, really fun. Not that if you lose it, things are over with. I don't want to go that far, but I think this is the toughest test yet.
This one of the most important Iowa State football games. As far as you're right, you can lose this game and still make the Big 12 championship game. In fact, I find it hard to believe that anybody's going to go undefeated in this conference.
Agreed.
including Iowa State. I mean, it's just everybody's too even. But if you win this, you pretty much are favored. If you win this, you're definitely favored next week. And then, I mean, you're also, I don't know what the date is like on the 2nd, but the Tech game could be like a big noon kickoff type thing.
You could be
potentially.
But you're right. You're
but then you're favored against Kansas. You're favored against Cincinnati. Like this is a huge, huge hurdle.
This is the vault game. You win this, and you're going to be in the top 10, in my opinion, for the foreseeable future. So here we go. Yeah.
All right. Let's run down to our Wiffles Hybrids Big 12 segment here. Plant your independence. Plant Wiffles. Shout out to all the great farmers who are harvesting today.
One quick stat. Iowa State has not played a top 80 offense yet.
See? Okay, so I'm not just running my yapper then. Thank you. God, I got hammered for that over the weekend. It's just like I know they're a good defense, but like we got to be realistic about this. Now the good thing is I don't think this West Virginia defense is very good. And Rocco Beck is old man's going to be there being a little extra juice. For those who don't know what I'm referencing, Rocco's dad, Anthony, one of the great Mountaineers in history, is being put into their Hall of Fame at halftime, which is a classy deal for West Virginia to do that on that date.
You guys think he'll wear Iowa State gear or West Virginia gear? Or maybe both?
He can't wear West Virginia gear.
I think he wears Iowa State gear.
Or I would just wear my son's hat.
I would wear an Iowa State shirt and my son's hat.
My son's hat, Rocco Beck. See, Mouse had the Rocco Beck hat on in the press conference yesterday.
We need to make this like a thing where these coaches are wearing the player gear.
I think it's great.
Yeah, it's a great look.
Interestingly, Neil Brown in his press conference, I thought this was super interesting in this era we're in, and maybe my antennas are up. He said, I root for Rocco every game except for one. And that's against us. So I just thought that was interesting.
Were you saying he's recruiting him?
No, I didn't. Did I? I didn't say that, but that's my
where
first.
My mind went.
That's my antenna's like,
Well, we root for you too, Mr. Brown.
Yes, say Neil.
I like West Virginia. They're
I
one of my favorite.
like Neil Brown. I just thought it was super fascinating knowing that they do have that natural connection, and I'll just leave it at that.
Well, you can't just leave it at that.
I'm leaving it at that. I'm not getting in trouble on this podcast.
Look, you already did. I like West Virginia fans though. They're some
no,
of my
I like
favorites.
them too. They're my people.
I mean, they're kind of like us. They're just like it is what it is. They've had a couple of bad actors on social media over the years that have made them all look like idiots, but
so do we.
Yeah.
So do we.
It's like, come on. All right, Big 12 Friday night, good one Friday night. Really looking forward to After Dark. 16th ranked Utah is at Arizona State. I ain't giving gambling advice, but I would take the points. It's like 6.5 in Arizona State here. I mean, everybody's mad at Cam Rising now. Everybody's mad at Kyle Whittingham. I have no idea what the hell is going on there, but it's like I just want points. And more often than not in this league, I want points as far as picking these games go.
Yeah, I feel you there. Here's what I'll say, though. They had a bye week last week, right?
Yes.
I can't imagine what those practices were like.
Yeah, no, good point.
I mean,
good point.
That guy is, I say this in a respectful way, he's an a-hole, and so they've been through it. And so I don't think, and they are physical to begin with. Arizona State has that reputation of not being super physical. They're skilled, not super physical.
You calling them soft?
No, I'm not. I'm saying beware of Utah just gashing them.
Okay. Yeah, it could be an overreaction that Arizona State's not as good as they've appeared. That's very fair.
I think 6 is a lot for point. I do agree there. I just think in this situation,
me that if you don't know, like in this league, you're better off just taking the points because the underdogs keep winning these games.
Yes.
Like the underdogs have won an astonishing amount of games in this league this year.
And oddly, home field has really not been a thing.
That's
for
why
2 years for 2 years in a row.
Yeah, I feel like I will overthink the Iowa State West Virginia home field thing. It's a hard place to play, but so is Iowa City in that environment, right? Like
The first quarter will be hard.
I hate the road night game.
Yeah.
The road night game's the worst. Home night game is different. The road night game, you've experienced this a lot, where you're just sitting around in the hotel.
It's a long day.
Yeah, it sucks.
I don't know exactly where the team is staying. The hotel we normally stayed at in Morgantown was not my favorite. Not that it matters.
Was that the haunted one?
It felt haunted. It was on a weird old golf course. Yeah. So got some bad. Although
the boys were talking about it being haunted on the
is that right?
Zone.
Okay. Yeah. So that's same one.
Rimsburg has stories.
Okay. It felt like there's something weird going on there. Now, very nice sports establishment that I had consumed a couple beverages there. But
you and Brunsey back in the day, just
we
staying out until like 3 a.m.
There's nowhere else to go. Like you are locked into this. Yeah. Anyway, it's
I always stayed when I was doing basketball. We stayed at the one that's like
the nice hotel.
Yeah,
the Marriott.
Yeah, I never stayed out at the one you're.
No, this place is. I'll put up a tweet. I'll show you where we stayed.
You want to have a good time. You go in like January and go out on a Tuesday night in Morgantown. You want to have a hell of a time. And then you'll know why we all love West Virginia so much.
I love
great time.
I love West Virginia. I'm not going. I decided
Are they
that.
top 3 Big 12 fan base for you?
Yes.
Yeah,
absolutely. They are a lot like
too.
us. Like we're Riot Brothers. Like we get it. Like I feel some kinship there. I also know that makes it a tough place to play.
Yeah, no doubt. It's very similar. Cincinnati at Central Florida. We don't really care much about this other than Central Florida is Iowa State's next opponent.
I'll be surprised if that game is played.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep an
Great
eye on
point.
it. So UCF may have an extra rest week. That's why I say that.
Arizona at BYU, 3 o'clock on Fox. So this is in our window where we can watch this game. Don't play either of these teams this year, but definitely a notable one for the Big 12 championship game. We're just blindly rooting for Arizona, right?
I think for now, yeah.
You want BYU? You want people to just stack up losses?
You need everyone to lose. Just give me losses. And BYU's schedule is not the hardest, so I would like them to get a loss at home. That'd be nice.
You got the Iowa State game, and then can I give you my red letter special? I don't even know what that means. Red ribbon. We are going the absolute stone cold. Do 100 push-ups in the back, chug a beer, 10 pull-ups, lock of the week.
Wow. The high
Kansas
T.
State is going to beat Colorado.
Oh, what's that line?
4.
Yeah. Yeah.
We have all overreacted to Colorado. You look at their wins over Baylor that they shouldn't have even won, and then what has happened to this Central Florida team in the last 3 weeks. Clearly, there's a major culture problem in Gus Malzahn's group. We've bought into the Dion hype.
Oh, man. Yeah,
and
that's
this is a culture-type program like Kansas State coming in there after a bye week, ready to go.
Good grief. I feel bad for Colorado, honestly. That's only 4? Okay. I'm with you.
Once you have the collective open up an account,
it's a bad idea.
Put it all on Kansas State, and then go buy us a goddamn kicker for 3 years from now when Conradi's gone.
Somebody who knew him said it's actually Conrady. I was like, guys, I got to get to the bottom of this because maybe we should just
trying
ask.
to butcher the kid's name.
I don't think
wanna know.
Kyle. I don't know if Kyle cares, but we need to figure this out.
I was doing preparation for my podcast with Otzelberger today. Noyos Indrusitis.
Yeah, pretty good.
Indrusitis.
And Chatfield prefers Brant.
Really?
Okay. However, guys, important to note, because we're working on these things, Joshua Jefferson, do not call him Josh.
Really?
Yeah, don't.
Does he get like mad?
I don't think he gets mad, but he says, my name is Joshua, and he's very formal about it.
You know what?
So.
I always preferred Christopher, and everybody just called me Chris. So maybe I'm going to make you call me Christopher from now on.
That's fine. That's fine. I thought of you, one of our neighbors, because, again, it's never too early to have Halloween decorations out.
Oh, these people in this neighborhood, it is something.
And because I was thinking about our Iowa pork, ham, and bacon campaign, and somebody had a tombstone out that said, Chris P. Bacon. Crispy bacon. And I was like, oh, man. I don't know what made me think of you, but...
Gotta call up Joyce, get the pork producers all over that.
Crispy bacon.
Let's get Caleb Bacon, as he's recuperating to go over and do a NIL deal.
With crispy bacon.
Okay. Well, there you go. I got to get out of here.
Should be a fun day. Yeah.
Because we got to get to Ames, and then Leah and I will have pregame doing that today.
Make sure Otts doesn't make fun of your hair too much. I mean, it's kind of an ongoing thing.
That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
He will spend half the time just blowing me up.
Yeah.
We'll have Ted Flint and the boys with their picks. We will have our picks podcast with Tim Mullen from Nebraska Furniture Mart. And then it's game day coming up. Aiden Wyatt producing. I'm Chris Williams for Brent Blum. We'll be back on Sunday night, hopefully talking about your 6-0, nationally ranked in the top 5 varsity football program at Iowa State University.